Welcome to Season 2 of How to Not Kill Your Community, a podcast of the Delaware Community Foundation. Join us in exploring how the choices we make impact the well-being of our families and neighbors. This season, we'll bring together experts in volunteering, entrepreneurship, public transportation, and even joy to tackle one essential question: how do we not kill our community? Welcome back to Season 2 of How to Not Kill Your Community. I'm thrilled to be here today with one of our U.S. Senators, Lisa Blunt Rochester. What a delight to see you here, Lisa.
Thank you, Stuart. It's good to be here, and I'm very excited about the conversation.
I am too. This is a topic I know you love and I love talking about as well. Quickly, I think people know, but just in case they don't, you're our junior senator since 2025, U.S. Senator, previously a congressperson, born in Philly, raised in Wilmington, active politically and socially. You were the head of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League. You worked for state government in many different roles. So a whole lot of service in your life, service to the community. So Lisa, you know the concept here. 13 Ways to Kill Your Community is the book. We're kind of twisting it a little bit, but to say, let's look at negative things that are really bad if we do them. Okay, so it's bad out there. It's a very difficult time out there. Housing prices, fuel prices, ICE wreaking havoc all over the place, bombings internationally, undeclared wars. It's a really dangerous, overwhelming, confusing time. And so people are anxious constantly. We're all anxious about that. One of the things you have always shown, and I have a little story about when I first saw this, but is the value of joy and not forgetting about joy. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you?
Well, first of all, let me acknowledge, this is a tough time. And it's kind of interesting. I almost felt tested by this interview because we're taping this the weekend after the dignified transfer of service members who died in a war that most of us don't even understand why we're in it. And this weekend, I was supposed to attend the dignified transfer. I was working to try to attend it, then got sick and knew that I would not be able to stand for 7 hours on the tarmac. And my team was like, you can't do that, And so I was sad. I was in the bed. I went down to get some groceries, and my neighbor, who Lynn Howard, Lynn and Don, Lynn texted me later, you don't look good. Are you okay? And the crazy thing is, then I started to feel depressed because I was by myself, and I'm like, I have to give an interview about joy on Monday, and I'm feeling like this. And it was all the things that I usually would do to make myself feel better didn't seem to work. And I put that out there because I think it's important. A lot of people do see me and see that I try to bring joy to my work, I try to bring joy to my life, but that every one of us is going through. I don't even think we've really healed and rebounded from COVID. I think there's
I completely agree with that.
And so I want to start with that premise that there is a difference between happy and joy. Happy, I heard someone say, is based on what happens to you or in your life, as opposed to joy, which is kind of a state of being, and I believe the antidote to hopelessness. And so I had to think to myself, first of all, feel your sad, feel your feels. That's okay. We need to. That's healthy. That's human. But then from there, where do you go? And so I did something that I did a couple of things that were out of the norm. Instead of feeling my sadness, I decided. I got a text from one of my friends who was going through something with her family, and I was like, get up out of this bed, go in the living room and text her back and say, can I call you? And just from the conversation, going back and forth with each other and sharing our pain, we ultimately got to laughter and joy and memories, and even mourning some of the memories, but then just being present with each other. And I think that was part of the lesson that that there's a scripture, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hold on. Hold on. Do something out of sight of you.
You know, I think joy is a lot closer to love than it is to happiness.
I agree.
And love, as we know, takes real work.
Yes.
And joy takes real work. And happiness is a little more ephemeral.
Yes.
If you think, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that happiness was not the one you say happy. That is eudaimonic happiness, which is a Greek idea about a life well lived.
Yes.
And that is what I think of as what you're talking about.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it is joy. I think you could be sad while you're joyful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it is, if we don't practice intentional joy, we can't get to love. And we have too little love in this community and too little supporting each other.
Intentional. I love that word too. It was funny because I also decided I'm just going to watch little videos on my phone of my granddaughter.
Oh, well, there you go. Right?
She made me crack up. Like, I was like going all the way back. She's now 3. And I went all the way back to when she was like, I don't know, she was like maybe 10 months old or something. And she was hearing the song, Cher's If You Believe in Love. And she just kept like doing this thing, where she was dancing. And it brought me such joy to watch that. But I love also that you talked about love. Yeah. Because to me, that's the most powerful. Like, that's the highest energy, frequency, whatever, is love. Yeah. And in this moment, it is so easy to be weighted down. Yeah. And so, I totally agree.
There's real cognitive dissonance right now where you've got all this stuff, the stuff you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis in the U.S. Senate, the stuff we read about on the front page of the newspaper or whatever news source we have, the bombings, they're like, what the heck is happening? The disassembling of a lot of components of what we think of as American democracy. And yet we still have to be building joy and love in our communities and in ourselves, even though we know this is going on and we hope that we want this to be changing that.
Right. Well, I mean, think about it. I maybe can't control, and this is like by me, I mean all of us. Yeah. Maybe I can't control what's happening halfway around the world, but I can control myself, my community, and how I interact with my community. And I do think there is power in that. Yeah. There is agency in that, And so for me, it was another thing I did yesterday. I looked out at the sky. It was gorgeous. I started taking pictures of like this cotton
just right
candy.
out your window.
Yeah, I was like, this is actually free, And, nice. And then I sent them to my family. We have a family text thread. Now they're probably all like, this is what happens when Lisa's like in the bed, because she's like sitting here taking pictures of the sky. But I again, back to, in that moment, I can't be around the world, but I can be present here. Yeah. And what do I do in this present moment?
So you came to politics after a personal tragedy, the unexpected death of your husband, to Charles. How did that awfulness, that devastation, contribute to your intentionality around joy?
As I think back on it, Charles, when he died, and as you know, he ruptured his Achilles tendon playing basketball before some meetings that he was to attend, and blood clots ultimately went to his heart and lungs. And at the age of 52, love of my life, passed away. And I remember that whole year just being on autopilot. Like I was not. I don't think I was carrying joy or happiness with me. I was sad. I was mad. I'm a person of faith. I thought I was going to lose my faith
Yeah.
and question why did that happen. After all of these years, I finally found somebody in my 40s, and then in my 50s he's gone. And literally I was just numb and on autopilot, and I went to the supermarket, and I always tell this story because I carry this with me even in the work that I do in this present moment. But I saw in front of me a dad with 3 kids, and he put back grapes when the checkout lady, when the cashier, because they were $9. And I thought to myself, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. Charles left everything in order. He had a will. He had, he left everything in order. I had a home, family, friends, a pastor. I tell people I had a rabbi. I'm not even Jewish. Like I had the support I need. But seeing that dad snapped me out of my pain and made me realize I can do something. I can serve. I had been Secretary of Labor in Delaware and Urban League CEO and worked for Health and Social Services. I knew about service. I had worked for a governor, a congressman. My dad was a public servant. And I decided, having never run for anything, I've never even been in a debate in my life.
Wow.
And I was debating lawyers up on the stage,
Yeah, I mean, you did a good job of it too.
Hey, I don't know if I did a good job because people were making fun on social media.
What you brought was a light.
I brought love because I knew what my intention was.
Yeah.
I knew that when Charles was on his deathbed and I asked God, why are we here? What is this about? It came clearly to me, we are here to love, to be loved. To love yourself, which is hard a lot of times because we say really negative things about ourselves sometimes. We doubt ourselves. We are sometimes not kind to ourselves. Love yourself. Love others, especially the people you don't like.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, right?
Ooh.
Talk about that. I mean, you are having to, politically, we're jumping back now, but on the politics side, sometimes you're opposing and vocally opposing things.
Yes.
How do you do that? Well, how do you keep loving people who are just, you think, wrong?
I try to focus on the action and not the human. Do you know what I mean? I try to, I try to say, this person is lying, might not be the same as,
I was told not to lie, but
you're a horrible,
Yeah.
For me, I think that's important, to kind of do that. I try to find common ground. That especially in Congress, that has been really important. And I think the things that have been the most exciting sometimes are the times when you're like, hey, we agree on this issue, whether it is criminal justice reform and how I've been able to work on Clean Slate, which has been bipartisan, or whether it is, bringing clean drinking water to communities in Delaware, or resources. Some of the best times when we were able to do things that, again, right now I'm working on housing legislation.
Yeah.
It's one of the number one issues I hear up and down this state.
Every community in the country.
Every community.
Yeah.
The cost of housing. And so now, my very first year as a senator, I put forth a housing agenda, my first piece of legislation, and now we have, for the first time in decades, a bipartisan bill called the Road to Housing that has every single member of the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee on it together. So again, it's like trying to find those things that you can do together because we're in this together, but also recognizing that, wrong is wrong too.
Right.
Right. And speaking that truth. Speaking that truth.
And you can believe people are wrong. You can believe people are dishonest, but you're trying to hold they are still human.
Exactly.
Even if I'm going to oppose most of what they have to say.
Exactly. And it's really hard in this environment where, even with social media, you are removed from the humanity.
Yeah.
So I heard someone say recently about the fact that when people are posting these things, they don't feel they don't feel even. They don't feel the hurt that they might inflict based on what they post, or even the joy that they might inflict. So it's kind of flat. And so that's why even in this environment where I'm focused on AI and how do we have both safeguards and also look at opportunities, you have to keep, where's the human element? How do we keep that?
I was teaching a course at the university this semester about community democracy, but a lot of that talk was about joy, and the students were all looking for how to find human interaction in the social media world. And these are 1920. These are people who grew up in this world, and they're saying it's not enough.
Right.
They recognize that.
Right.
So,
I think that even as we shift how we work. And again, I talk about, that's why I mentioned even the rebounding from the pandemic. I think that the pandemic kind of showed us what isolation can look and feel like.
And loneliness, and we have not rebounded from that.
Exactly. And I think back to your word of intention and intentionality, you almost have to make yourself, get into community, be involved in things. I think that's why some of the most beautiful times are when you go to the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival, or when you connect to the arts, because that also connects us to our humanity.
Very true.
I think that's important too.
So one of the moments that put you on people's TV screens almost more than anything was January 6th, in the balcony, the video of you leading prayer. You talk about that moment and how you got to that place for yourself, but also for your community there.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, I remember the lead up to that day. That whole year before, I was one of the co-chairs of the Biden-Harris campaign. We had worked so hard, and I wanted to be on the floor the day that this vote was certified. All of our votes were certified. And the speaker at that time said only people whose states are contesting this election are going to be able to be on the floor. But if you want to volunteer to be up in the gallery, up in the balcony area, we'll take 1 hour shifts and you can sign up. So I signed up for that very first shift. We never got to a second shift. And that morning, I could feel something was different. It's weird. Even what I remember exactly what I wore. I took 2 pair of boots. One was like a really nice pair of boots, and the other were like these Life Strides that I could walking boots. And when I went down from my office to the gallery, I remember stopping and saying, "Change your boots." Didn't know why, didn't know what was going to happen, just felt funny. And while we were up there, I could see people start to be whisked off the floor. First the leadership, then other members, then those of us who were up in the gallery. People were looking at their phones and they were saying that people are marching toward the Capitol. We didn't know why, but I assumed I'm in the safest place. I'm in the United States Capitol. And then we hear banging on the door behind us, people trying to get in. I remember reaching under, we were told that under our seats were gas masks, and we didn't even know they were there. We did not know how to open them or how to use them. And I remember helping Sheila Jackson Lee. I remember us helping her try to open it. And I don't even think that we had time to process or think. It was just act. And so someone said, let's go to the opposite side. I think he thought maybe they would think we're Republicans if we were on the opposite side, which didn't really make sense, but we crawled up and down and through the balcony until we got to the other side. And my good friend, Congresswoman Val Demings from Florida, who I had she's my friend. We had, over the years, had, known each other. And she grabbed my arm and I grabbed hers. And she said, Lisa, there's only one who can get us out of this. And then so I was like, pray. That's all I could think to do. I could hear the gunshot at one door. I could see the police, Capitol Police, holding down the other door on the floor. And I just started to pray. And the first words that came out of my mouth were from scripture that all things work together for the good. Mm-hmm. It gives me chills thinking about it now, because I tell people, usually they say right before you die, you see your life flash before your eyes. I saw history flash. I saw slavery. I saw women marching arm in arm for the right to vote. I saw world wars. I saw all of history in that moment. And I just prayed. And I prayed for all of us. And I in that moment, I tell people that I decided, like, in that moment, don't lean back. Mm-hmm. Lean forward. Like, recommit to this work. It was, for me, a turning point in my life. And later that day, as we were freed from that space, we went to another space that was supposed to be undisclosed for the members, while we didn't realize that outside people were fighting for their lives, police officers, Capitol Police. We didn't know all that was happening. And we just thought that they were cleaning up the place. And we went back that night. And to me, I always say, when people ask, what's the best part and the worst part of being in Congress? And I say it was the same night. The worst part was that insurrection. The best part was that we came back and we did our jobs and we certified that election. And for me, that is what the tenacity, the hope, the recommitment to service and is about. Mm-hmm. It is not about just how you feel when you're down. It is how you get back up.
Yeah.
And in this moment, to me, this country, we have a choice to make. We say we're better than this. We're this. Do we want to be better than this? Can we be better than this? I believe we can, but we have to choose. Mm-hmm. It's an affirmative thing. We have to choose love. We have to choose love. We have to choose each other. We have to recognize that we're in this together, whether we want to be or not. We sink or swim together. Mm-hmm. That's what this moment is about. That's why love is so powerful and so transformational, and so it ain't a weak thing. Yeah. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to do.
And we have a lot of people who are not practicing much love right now, right? And I think it's a great point to say it is a strong thing.
Yes.
And it is it's a transcendental characteristic.
Yes, yeah.
And it is, so how do you in this moment convince people, don't just go angry and hateful.
Yeah.
Use the love. And it's not weak.
Right.
And it is about sticking to it and continuing and pushing through and pushing through and pushing through and pushing for the things that care for all of us. Yeah. How do you convince people that that's where we need to be?
I think part of it is how we live our lives. I mean, a lot of people are like, don't tell me, show me. Yeah. Don't tell me, show me. And, I do believe that this moment is a moment of showing, and demonstrating, and recognizing that we are human. I think it does start with ourselves, I go back to that thing about even loving ourselves. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. I know I do it for myself. It's like, be gentle with yourself first.
Yeah, a little grace.
A little grace for yourself. No, a lot of grace. We need a lot. We need a lot of grace for ourselves. And sort of like, that's why this whole focus even on your community is so important. And there are multiple communities that we each have.
Yeah.
I've got some girlfriends, we call ourselves the Lilas, which stands for Love You Like a Sister. It's, 4 Broadway sisters, 4 Coker sisters, 2 McClendons, a Felicia, and then 3 Blunt sisters. They're part of my community. Finding those things, those people, those things that help keep you going so that you can show up, for others is so important. And I always say, just do your part. I think that's another thing that brings us down when we think we have to solve the whole big problem. We got to boil the ocean. I always tell the story of my best friend, Michelle, who said to me when I ran that first time, she was like, Lisa, I don't have $1,000 to give you, I'm a government worker, She said, but what I do know is that you're losing weight from running up and down this state, and I can make pots of beef stew and pots of spaghetti. And Michelle did her part.
That's what she did.
That's all you have to do. You were put on this planet, do your part.
Yeah, we have to have a little confidence that other people are doing their part too, right?
Yeah,
and not, because we both see people who feel like, I got to do it all. And it's like crazy making for everybody.
Yes.
Right? You say, no, rest of us are doing something here too.
Yeah, this is true.
Lisa, I feel like it's interesting. We've pivoted from joy to love.
Yeah.
And love as a way to drive us to keep doing what we can do and need to do. Yeah. Is there anything, we've got to wrap this up because I could keep going. Anything you'd like to add here?
Well, I do want to add back to the point that you asked about like when I first ran, somebody said to me, because I was emotional about losing my husband. I was emotional about Wilmington and gun violence. And I was, and they were like, we need somebody that's more aggressive. This is what a newspaper told me, editorial board. And I was
back
like,
when there were editorial boards.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I was like, I don't know if that's necessarily what we need more of. But I do think this thing about joy is that joy can also be resistance.
Yeah.
And I think that's important in this moment where people are wondering, how can I possibly even have joy in this moment? No, I will not let you steal my joy. That people who know me know not only do I listen to gospel, I love Beyonce. And there's a song, You Won't Break My Soul. That's also an important component of this moment. And how, when we look back over history, how did people make it through?
Yeah.
Part of that was joy and finding the joy, whether it's in the sunlight, the grandchild, the spaghetti, whatever it is, finding the joy also helps you as part of the manifestation of the love.
Yeah. I could talk about that and give examples, but we don't need to. I think you've captured it. And I think we're done here, but I want to say thank you so much. Would love to have this conversation just free anytime, anywhere.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Love you.
Hey, love you. How to Not Kill Your Community is produced by 1440 Film Company and the Delaware Community Foundation, celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. Since our founding in 1986, the DCF has granted more than $530 million to 4,000 organizations by maximizing the giving of thousands of Delawareans. Learn how you can make more possible at www.delcf.org.